Hangout. I'm Ayodele Usubakum. It is 51 days to the conduct of the 2023 elections, so get your PVCs to be part of the process. Today on the program, KWANKWASO reacts to Obi's endorsement, counsels OBASANJO clerk to stop disgracing themselves. And later on the show, DSS arrests suspected mastermind of KOGI explosion during President Buhari's visit. I'll be hanging out with Mojit Jamiu and Chris Kendi Wandu. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. Gentlemen, Happy New Year. Will I say?
Yeah.
It's
nice to see you.
Welcome.
You are looking refreshed. You look
refreshed.
No, you look, leave us. You look refreshed. Say why?
There.
And we know.
Now.
You went to.
Why you are looking clean.
Welcome back.
A lot of people ask me, am I about to jackpot?
It's nice to see you.
We're back. Yeah. All right. The spiritual director of Adoration Ministry in Enugu, Nigeria, Reverend Father Ejike Mbaka, is in the news again. After some sort of issues, Reverend Father Mbaka has returned from monastery after 8 months of suspension due to closure of the church last year. Crowds of supporters cheered him on his return to the ministry. Let's share some of the video with you.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Confers on Stella Dane Jacob, Director of News at TVC News, a lifetime award for journalistic excellence for a lifelong contribution to journalism and good governance in Nigeria.
I'm dedicating this award to my 8-month-old daughter, Matea Josephine.
Sikian, let me start with you. Ejike Mbaka, 50-something days to the election, coming back to the Adoration Center after that suspension. What do you make of this?
Well, in certain parts, some people believe that is to add his voice to probably there have been some pressures from some powers that be that back over the years have noted to support to have him back in the country. But apart from that, don't forget that he was he stepped aside, as one of the former head of state once said. It wasn't like he was asked to leave the place. He was just suspended, asked to leave, and he went on to the monastery, and he was in the US and some other European countries for some days. But I don't know the reason why he decided to come just a few days to the election. But for me, I believe that Madam Mbaka is a distraction to the Catholic Church, as far as I'm concerned. He's a total distraction because his utterances, his actions, and some of the things he said is not in line and in sync with the doctrines of the Catholic Church. And that in itself that makes him look like an untouchable, which is not doing the Catholic Church a world of good. Don't forget that before he left, there was this kind of disagreement, a huge one with the bishop of that area. And even his supporters wanted to go on rampage and the rest of them. I always said that he has his followership. He has enough people to be able to start a ministry of his own. If you look at what is there used to be you might not know him. There's a man called Father Ede in the southeast. He used to be as popular as Father yes, in the southeast. But he was a Catholic, or he's a Catholic. At a point he moved out, and presently Father Ede is the owner of the name of another. There are 2 universities, and he has all that businesses that he's doing, and that has moved his focus. He focused on what he's doing and just leave the. If you understand what I mean. So I feel that Father Baka has enough fellowship to match people like the Bishop of Winners, Pastor Eneche, and the rest of them who have so much cash, so that they can be able to live a church as conservative as Catholic. Catholic is not a Pentecostal church. It's if you know the conservative nature of that. So they like doing their own thing without necessarily. He has politically turned into a politician, which is becoming so much of embarrassment. But let's see what is going to happen. Whether you continue with the at the adoration ground, whether he will now mellow down some of his utterances, especially political views, which to a large extent is making some people very uncomfortable.
But just some people will say these pastors and imams, that they should face their prime responsibility of leading people to heaven, to the kingdom of God, so to say, than dabbling into politics. I was in the U.S. When they played the final of the World Cup. I watched one very funny. I won't call him man of God. He was so categorical about it, Reverend Tibetan, that France is going to win that World Cup, that as God liveth, he was so categorical. So after the match, I was like, how can you reconcile the prediction of this clown? So what will happen to his members?
You see, religion has become big business. And politics. Religion now is business and politics, no longer religion. For Father Mbaka, Ken, I think I would disagree with you that he is a distraction. This man is a Marxist version of Reverend Father Nkuka. He is a Marxist version. Is it the kind of followership Mbaka controls? And he says it the way he says it.
Siken is trying to say, is that his primary responsibility?
You see, the thing is, others also say it. We have heard Pastor Bakari saying that Obasanjo will not be sworn in for second term. I mean, on...
Pastor Bakari has a church of his own. That is what we're saying.
Okay, yeah.
He does. Now, so he cannot be compared to Mbaka.
Now... Why was Mbaka suspended in the first instance? He said Peter Obi is Akagom. Because of that, he will not win election. That was why he was suspended 8 months ago. Now, Obi is still in the race, and Mbaka is back. When he came back today, straight from Enugu, he went to the adoration ministry, where he also, later he went to his official quarters in very close to the Nickel Lake in Enugu. So, what the Catholic Church will do with him, we don't know yet, but the fact is that he's back, he still has that followership. And I believe that the church is torn between, do we allow this man to go away? And I know that a lot of his followers will follow him to anywhere he's going, because it's like they believe so much in him. And he tells them the kind of things they want to hear. You can see the crowd from the Enugu International Airport that followed him to his ministry today. No, the adoration ministry had to be shut down because the other priest that was transferred there to replace him, people didn't allow him to stay. They said they wanted him until he was barred into a monastery in Enugu there. We don't know.
If you remember another man of God, he was saying that people should just deliver the message to President Buhari that he should not contemplate in running for second term in office.
2019, yeah.
That God has told him that if he attempts to contest,
that is, you know,
and people will sit down under the whatever, I won't call it that anointing.
Well, just as Moji said, and just as you rightly said, religion, you know, Major Pashek, you go to remember, there's that song, Religion and Politics.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Opium.
Yes, that album, I and I Experience. That also had too long. Religion and politics have always been, right from time immemorial.
You can't separate it.
You can't separate religion and politics. It comes in different, even if you look into the Bible, you will see that so many kings were anointed by men of God. Saul became a king, when Samuel, there are so many, right from the Bible time. But the difference between what we had then and what we're having now is we're having more of false prophets. In those days, like we read in the Bible, as a student of Bible, if what the prophet will tell you, something is coming. You have to do this, you have to do that. And if you follow that to the letter, it comes. They don't get themselves bribed. Most of the ones we are having now are just butter and bread kind of men of God who trans to the truth. I don't have any problem with any man of God saying he wants to go into politics. It's not a collective reserve of anybody. As far as you are in Nigeria,
It's happening in Benue State.
it is happening. But yes, the APC government candidate for Benue State is a pastor. I don't say anything. The vice presidential candidate of NNPP is a pastor.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yes, Pastor Idahosa.
Yes, the Pastor Idahosa. So you can drop that gap
Isaac
and
Idahosa.
go into politics. So you have to take between playing politics and you know why? Why? Because members of your church are not just members of one particular political party. If you go to any of the churches, you have people supporting PDP, those supporting APC. Align yourself to a particular political party or an individual. Then what do you want the flocks to do?
All right, moving on now. It appears there are sinister plots to scuttle the 2023 general election through orchestrated removal of the chairman of the National Electoral Commission, that Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmood Yakub, from office. But such plans failed when the Federal High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, sitting in Garki, Abuja, quashed the allegation of false asset declaration brought against Professor Yakubu. The court went ahead to bar security agencies from investigating him over his valid asset declaration. In judgment, Justice M.A. Hassan found that the declaration of the asset by Professor Yakubu was lawful, valid, and in compliance with the law. Hence, it cannot be investigated by any security agencies listed by the claimants. MJ, why is this coming now? How many days to the election? What kind of distraction is this to Professor Mahmood? You know, if you remember 2015, run up to 2015 election, there was this pressure on Goodluck Jonathan, former President Goodluck Jonathan, to actually remove Professor Mahmood Jega. And if groups across the country held rallies and there was this agitation, but it stood his ground, and maybe some people will say that was a victory for democracy, and some other set of people will say that was actually ill.
It's the enemies of Nigeria and the enemies of progress, enemies of democracy that play here, because this is somebody that is serving his, I think he's serving the second term as INEC chairman. And you are bringing up this kind of very...
days to the general election.
To the general election. I mean, but I love the spirit of
the judge,
Justice Mariam Hassan of the FCT High Court, who said even not only the DSS, the police and the Code of Conduct Bureau should not even go near him. She restricted them. And I think, see, they have attempted to disrupt the general elections by bombing INEC offices. When they see that didn't work, that's why they are going straight for the jugular of the
umpire.
The umpire. But I think they have failed. If they attempt to go to the appellate courts, they will still fail. They are planning to scuttle the conduct of the election, but I think Nigerians are wiser. And you know, the same thing is also happening to the governor of the central bank. But in that case, I mean, he is abroad now. He couldn't come home. I mean, he got an injunction to restrict the DSS from arresting him. They said he's plotting, he's sponsoring terrorism. I mean, governor of central bank. But then I also blame him. Why did you get yourself into the murky waters of politics by saying you want to contest in the first instance? If not for that, people will have risen up to actually fight for him and challenge the battle he's facing now. But for the INEC chairman, I think more Nigerians, and this where I expect the civil society organizations and well-meaning Nigerians to come up and actually defend the INEC chairman that we must allow this election to hold. I mean, because it means so much to Nigerians. Nobody should be allowed, under any guise, to attempt to scuttle the conduct of the 2023 general elections that are just days away.
There seems to be something sinister when you're talking about his asset declaration form, and you know, the project is supervising now is something that, look, Professor Mahmoud does not need any kind of distraction.
Yeah, why? We should put such things in perspective. By the provision of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, no single individual, no Nigerian that cannot be investigated.
Yes.
That, let us get that right. I don't know how the judge came about no investigation. There's a difference between investigation and prosecution. Every Nigerian, from the president to the last person in Nigeria, can be investigated. And by that expression of that same constitution of 1999 as amended, the only people that cannot be prosecuted are the president, the vice president, governor, and deputy governors. They are covered by immunity. Every other Nigerian can be investigated and can be prosecuted. I think we should get that clear, very, very clear. Can the chairman of INEC be investigated? Yes.
Yes, but what of the timing?
No, I'm just coming. I just want to put this in perspective, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Can he be prosecuted? Can he be investigated? Yes. So, but the fact is that, why is he being investigated now? Why did anybody go to court just a few days to the election? That is where the issue is. So, if by the provision of the Constitution, the INEC chairman can be investigated, but it seems it's the works of what we call in journalism the fifth columnist. People who want to, if you read that, you see where the person that initiated that court said it should be suspended. When you use the word suspended, what are you to imply? That means that you have, yes, that means that you have, there are certain things that you have. So you have at the back of your mind, are you going to suspend the person that's supposed to conduct the This is just part of the game plan. There have been instances where some people are not comfortable with some of the things that INEC chairman has been doing. AY, I was at a stakeholders meeting that was addressed by the chairman of INEC some few weeks back here in Lagos, where he addressed some editors. And he mentioned some of the fears that he has as the chairman of the... Part of it is, one, security. Very, very key. Towards the 2020, now, he also talked about the issue of burning of their offices across. You see that there's this system where certain individuals, they may be politicians, are now going to INEC offices to burn INEC offices. It is believed that some of them are those that believe that they might not be able to have their way because of the introduction of beavers. Gone are the days where politicians wait until election day to snap ballot buses and write results. Those days are over. They know that they cannot be able to do that. So anybody that is trying to truncate this election that is coming up in February is not a patriotic. So I think in tandem with the judgment and the decision of the judge of the court, so that we don't have this unnecessary distraction now. And for whatever the election to that talking of, I think they should just think of something else to do. But as far as this issue is concerned, this election will be held in February and March, and INEC chairman has said that there is no going back on this, so they should just forget it.
What the injunction actually affected the security agencies and extended to the police that it should not be harassed or touched pending the determination of the substantive case.
Yeah, because what they are seeking is actually funny. It didn't just feel normally all public office holders feel their code of conduct reform, where you declare your assets and what have you, not later than probably 3 months after you are elected into office, so that people will know your true worth and value when you come into office. And when you leave, when you are exiting office after 4 or 5 year tenure, you are supposed to fill another code of conduct form at the end of your tenure. Because I took part in that exercise between 2010 and 2014. They want to know how much you have accrued while in office, vis-a-vis how much you have earned legally in those, while you were in office. So, but he didn't just fill this form today. So why are they coming now at the eve of the election, quote and unquote, to seek for his suspension from that office? And these are people that have been saying that they don't want beavers to be used. They want us to go back to the old way of conducting elections where
with incident form.
With incident form, so that they can bypass beavers. They know that it's becoming increasingly difficult for them to rig elections. So they are trying to come through all manner of ways to try and either get him removed so that they can have their way.
Let's take this caller. Daniel is calling us from Newman in Adamawa State. Thank you for joining us. Oh, Daniel, I think we lost that call.
So basically, I think, like I said, Nigerians should rise up and, challenge these enemies of democracy, so to say. Because, yes, we understand that no Nigerian is above the law. You can be investigated except for those who are the presidents and those who are elected as governors and their deputies. They are those that has immunity.
We'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this short break.
My brother, my sister, do you know that winning an election is not only about getting the majority vote? For that your candidate to be declared winner of the election, he or she must secure 25% of the vote in 2/3 of all states plus the FCT to be president, and 25% of the vote in 2/3 of all local governments of a state to be governor. This is constitutional, and every presidential candidate has had to pass this threshold. Even governors have had to make this mark to get elected in their states. We live in one country with different languages, religions, and ethnic groups. This is why it is not enough to have only northern votes, or southern votes, or eastern votes, or western votes. The only way to get elected as president or governor is by gaining enough support across the country and states. Let us make sure that we know now so that we don't cause an issue tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO.
It's a new dawn for Nigeria. Oh, better days are coming. Better days that gives us hope and strength.
It's a new dawn in Nigeria. The firmament portents a bright future as the people of Nigeria move to vote a man whom they have come to trust. That man is Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. Vote Bola Tinubu as president of Nigeria. Vote Kashim Shettima as vice president. Vote APC.
Bring the smiles back to all Nigerians.
Other important achievements in the health sector include the use of local herbs, plants, and traditional medical technology in production of drugs and treatment of terminal illnesses and diseases. Like, sure you know, one of the commonest drugs, that was discovered locally is for the treatment of sickle cell anemia, and Nigeria has probably the largest percentage. Then, of course, the development of antilipemic. When you say antilipemic, something that could reduce the fat in the body, and that's coming from Firu.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
If you're just joining us, this is Journalist Hangout, and we're reaching you live from TVC News here in our headquarters in Lagos, Nigeria. And I have Mojid Jamiu and Chris Kendi Wando in the studio. To voice one's sentiments on issues is one thing. To face the deluge of reactions after it's another matter. Following the endorsement of the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, former President Olusegun Obasanjo is facing backlash from that action. The presidential candidate of the new Nigerian People's Party, NNPP, Rabiu Musa KWANKWASO, said it is wrong for any person who is considered a statesman to go about endorsing candidates ahead of the 25th of February presidential election. Speaking in Benin City, the Edo State capital, KWANKWASO advised Obasanjo, an elder statesman, Edwin Clark, to stop disgracing themselves. Is this not too harsh? Rabiu KWANKWASO, former Minister of Defense under Olusegun Obasanjo, if you remember. Rabiu KWANKWASO of the People's Democratic Party when Obasanjo held sway as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now, talking about the endorsement of Mr. Peter Obi of the Labour Party by former President Olusegun Obasanjo. Now he's saying that perhaps Obasanjo should be in the league of the likes of Abdul Salami Abubakar, the likes of Yakubu Gowon, that they are apolitical, that they talk like statesmen, and Obasanjo, true to his word, he has turned his political party membership of the People's Democratic Party. That's why the endorsement of the Labour Party candidate.
Yeah, KWANKWASO was not against Obasanjo endorsing Obi. What he said was, he said there are some people that they have considered elder statesmen that ought to earn that respect, that ought to be respected, that they should put themselves in positions where they should be respected. And he said, now put a caveat that the moment you continue to say things like that, then you are disgracing yourselves. So, I mean, he put it in a context. He didn't just say that they are disgracing themselves. He said, people see them as people who should be, I mean, Yoruba will say, you should put yourself in a position where people will respect you. Obasanjo has never, applauded any government since 1979, except his own. He might start applauding you, but the moment he knows that he can no longer control you, then he will start abusing you. He will start writing letters. That has always been his modus operandi. But this time around, I think both the guys in APC and in PDP, they have been firing him from all cylinders. And I listened to one of the major players yesterday on one of the national TV stations. I think it was Festus Keyamo. He said, before the support Obasanjo gave to Atiku in 2019 was not because he loved Atiku. It was because he put it as a condition that Obi must be his running mate. That was why he supported Atiku, not because he loved Atiku. Because he has said the greatest mistake of his life was to have appointed Atiku as his VP. So, it's not as if he loved Atiku. You see, 2023. And the moment Obi stops listening to Obasanjo, he will start writing letters and abusing him. That's the kind of person Obasanjo is.
We seem to be enjoying this kind of endorsements and momentum across, you know. It started from the Afenifere leader, that's Ayo Adebanjo. And from Ayo Adebanjo, followed him to Ibadan and President in Israel, and from Ayo Adebanjo to Obasanjo New Year's Day, and then now we have Chief Edwin Clark. Clark is a very respected figure in the Niger Delta.
Yes, AY. Let's ask ourselves some fundamental questions. If Olusegun Obasanjo has endorsed KWANKWASO, will he come out and say what he said about Obasanjo? That's fundamental. So you play the toga of a nationalist, you're an elder. Did he say this when Obasanjo endorsed President Muhammadu Buhari in 2015? He did. And we remember what happened when he fell out with Goodluck Jonathan. He endorsed President Muhammadu Buhari. Let us not diminish the person of. As far as personally, since 1999, Obasanjo has been the best president we ever had. Whether you like it or not, the record is there. You might dispute it. You might say he's not fallible. He's not that. He's a human being. He has his ups and downs. But when you come to patriotism and nationalism, you cannot take it away from Obasanjo. Yes, you may not like the way he talks, but don't forget, this is an army general. He says it the way it is, and that is it. Now, coming to the issue of, he's not like those that play, that behave like kangaroos that have their head dipped inside the sand and their body is open and they say they're hiding. Obasanjo, what some other people do in secret, Obasanjo will come out in the open and say it. He does not hide it. If he doesn't like you, doesn't like you, whether you like it or not. And that has been him. So I will not fault him. He has a right as an individual. That is a constitutional right. As a Nigerian, by the provisions of the Nigerian Constitution, 1999, he has the right. He has the right to vote and be voted for, and he also has the right, just like Mojit can endorse anybody. He can endorse his very good friend CKN. Will you fault him for endorse? You can. If I'm going tomorrow, you say I want to contest in Imo State. In my state, sure. And which I know you have so many friends. Sure. Won't you influence people in Imo State to vote for me? That is it. So why all this? And if that endorsement doesn't make any sense, why is it that the other political party are shouting?
Former presidents.
That is what I'm saying. You say, oh, it's not relevant. Is the one endorsed before? It's not relevant. What does it bring to the table? Okay. Wait, let me finish. Let me finish. So what I'm saying in essence is that he has endorsed it. There are some people, most of our former leaders, that have endorsed some of these presidential aspirants, but they don't come out. I'll tell you that for free. There are so many of them. Name them. They are supporting them. Why? Because they believe that these people don't want to leave power. And that has always been the issue. Then coming to the issue of it, Obi has been lucky enough that most of the people that are good have endorsed him. But don't forget that even vulcanizers, mechanics, drivers, and the rest of them unions have been supporting and endorsing certain presidential candidates. And you cannot take away that from him. So okay. I don't.
Hassan is calling us from Lekki, Lagos.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Hassan.
Ayo.
Yes, go ahead.
And Majid and the other gentleman. You see, I disagree with the last speaker. Obasanjo's antique is the antique of enemy of my enemy is my friend. In 2019, let me put it in its proper perspectives. Obasanjo supported Atiku. He threw away all caution. Despite what he wrote in his book, he supported Atiku because he hated Muhammadu Buhari. So that is his own. As a statesman, he is responsible for his actions. He has the right to say whatsoever, but it is not in his place as a statesman, as a former head of state, to be making noise all the time. General Abu Salam Abubakar is there, he did not say anything. Babangida is there, he did not say anything. Even Jonathan, he did not say anything. Why him all the time? he should take a humble pie. He should respect himself. He should not be seen pitching his tent with anybody. In 2015, 2014, he parted way with Jonathan, and he was forced to back Muhammad Buhari. That has been his attitude all his life. So,
thank you, son.
Now,
looking at the advantage of this endorsement coming from Obasanjo, that's on Obi, how will it change the dynamics or political calculation?
I wish you didn't ask me this question. Obi should continue with his canvassing for votes and not rely on any endorsement for Obasanjo. Obasanjo has never won his polling units. In 1999, he lost his polling units. In 2003, he struggled by coercing people. So his electoral value is next to nothing, as far as I'm concerned. So it will be foolhardy for Obi to think that he can earn political mileage from Obasanjo's endorsement. That's the basic truth. And you see, Obasanjo is not in a position to tell us who we should vote for in Nigeria. Obasanjo started corruption in Nigeria by trying to earn a third time. Those who were in the National Assembly said so. He started bribing the National Assembly because he wanted a third term. And this is somebody that will come and be, as I'm saying that, he was faced with this question on Hard Talk, BBC. He turned it to a quarrel. The video is making the rounds now. People are coming back to remind him that you wanted a third term. Those in the National Assembly then, between 2003 and 2007, they are still alive. Dr. Bugaje was there. Professor Bolaji Akinyemi was on national television. He said it. He said, if you're saying we are moving from frying pan to fire today, you put us in that frying pan. So why are you coming to say as if you are the holiest than thou? So he should not come. We know his antics. I'll be 55 in a few weeks' time. So I understand. But those who are younger might not understand who Obasanjo is, but we know him. So he should, Obi should not take that.
Personally, and I'll repeat myself, it will be foolhardy for anybody to sit down here and say, Obasanjo has no influence. He does not, because he didn't win his polling vote. And the question you ask yourself, why is it that every presidential candidate that is coming out to contest goes to Abeokuta?
Yeah, they go everywhere. They go everywhere. They go everywhere. They go to all the statements.
If it's that irrelevant, how come that they are going to? I'm not saying that his endorsement is going to add any value to anybody. What I'm saying is that whether you like it or not, it is within his right. If that is what he wants to do, why not? If not, you are not just trying. You cannot just even a man. How many years does God? I don't know. Obasanjo is over 80. How many more years does Obasanjo have to stay? But the fact remains that the question I'll continue to ask: if it were any other presidential candidate that was endorsed by Obasanjo, will some of them still come out and say what they are saying? And that is the issue for me. But I still believe that each and every one of them should go about their campaign. Endorsement is done. It's not only by even in the United States. He just came back from the U.S. Hollywood actors endorse presidential candidates. We have seen journalists. You saw what happened in Obama time when this black what's this woman, very popular black.
Okay, let's quickly pick this call. Cornelius is calling us from Port Harcourt, River State.
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening.
I just want to make comment concerning that Obasanjo's endorsement.
All right. Quickly.
And some opinion that is saying that that has been his way. When he supported Jonathan, even Nigerians, we know that how government of Jonathan went. So if you supported somebody and you see that that person is deviating, will you continue to support him? No. That was when he endorsed Buhari, hoping that Buhari would be a better person. Now he endorsed Atiku Abubakar then. But now Obi is around. He has compared all of them, and see that Obi is a better option. He endorsed him. And people are saying other head of state has been there. One man said that the evil thrives in the society because of the silence of the good ones. It's not because of the evil of the bad, it's because the good ones don't want to talk. Since Obasanjo can talk, we should praise him that whenever he sees things, he says it. And people are saying he wanted torture. Yes, he's a thief.
Okay. And finally, when a criminal decided to perpetrate evil under the nose of a president, then such person should be ready to face the consequences. Operatives of the Department of the State Services, DSS, has arrested the suspected mastermind of the explosion that rocked Kogi State on the 29th of December 2022, yes, late last year, near the palace of Oinoyi of Ibira in Okene, Kogi State. During the visit of President Muhammadu Buhari, the DSS spokesman Peter Afunaya said the suspect, Abdulmumin Otaru, popularly known as Abu Mikdad, was arrested alongside one of his associates, Saidu Suleiman, on Tuesday. Wow. This happened on the 29th. Today is 5th. Yeah. So we just have like 7 days they were apprehended. With automatic alacrity, as in Mr. President is involved. Spot on. That day, Mr. President was. Let me quickly take this break. When we come back, we'll dissect this more.
Launching the automation of the cadastre system is called Electronic Mining Cadastre Plus, EMC Plus. If you are interested in mining and you want to register, you want to get a license, you have to come all the way to Abuja. This, of course, was very limiting, especially for our investors from abroad. So this is a journey that started several years back, but we successfully, this November, launched the Electronic Mining Cadastre System. And since then, we've seen an upsurge in the application process, in the activity at the mining cadastre office. Because we run right now from the comfort of your homes, of your offices, 24/7. You can access that portal, make inquiries, you can initiate a process of registration and do all sorts. That's some of the achievements we've been able to make.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Our country one better. Nigeria one better. Who go do one for us? Yeah, so people of Nigeria, they jolly for the better we want shele for we country. So as they ready to vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as the next president of Nigeria, I ain't get the experience where you go fit use take make our country better. People of Nigeria, for this and many other better things when in don't vocalize, it good make we all vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu for president of Nigeria. Kashim Shettima as vice president. Vote APC. You will need
Welcome back. MJ, DSS, they've apprehended this Abdulmumin Otaru, a suspect mastermind, and then Abu Mikdad. Abu
Mikdad, that's his stage name, his operation name, like Anini that time. And so, you know, I can't imagine the effrontery, the boldness. You decide to go and bomb on a day the president was visiting. You know, it was not just
to embarrass.
No, it was not apprehended today. He was actually shot that day. He sustained gunshot wounds. So they've been tracing him. So they knew where he was, but they were closing in on him. So, you see, for you to, you know what he did? He used a VBIED, vehicle-borne improvised explosive device. That was what he deployed. And this is not the first time he's doing it. On August 5th of August, he was responsible for the bombing of a police area command in Kogi. The attack on the Kuje correctional facility in Abuja was the one that also masterminded that. I think that was July 5 too. So he's been involved in a series of very notorious terrorist stuff. And also recall the kidnap and killing in Ajaokuta, that ceramic industry, where one India was killed and 5 expatriates were kidnapped on August 5th. They were released on 31st of August. He was also responsible, according to reports by the DSS. So he is a very, very notorious terrorist of the ISWAP group. But from that name, Otaru, he is from Kogi State. Then the kidnappings and terrorist activities happening along that axis by his men. But I want to believe that since he has been arrested now, the security operatives should build more on that and ensure that, that such activities are minimized along that axis.
DSS, our security operatives, if they want to work, they will surely get into action.
Yes,
and I think I'm impressed that within 7 days.
You know, we used to have this local balance that if policeman won't work, he go work. You know, you used to say it, and more so, you just came back from US, I'll still use that. The last thing you ever do in the US is to kill a policeman or a security agent. They will follow you with their last blood. Talk less of what they did was more, for me, is an attempt on the life of the president. Although he wasn't there. But if the president was at that point in time, then it was a big security risk. Yes. But Mojid has analyzed the arrest, and that is even not where I'm heading to, is the prosecution. As a graduate of law, we've said it time without number that the problem we have in Nigeria, which we are still having, is ability to see the prosecution of people that have engaged in things like this to a logical conclusion. Why? There are so many. Let's start from the Boko Haram issues.
Diligent prosecution.
Diligent prosecution. Why the federal government told us at a point that they have a list for over 400 Boko Haram terrorists that were arrested, and they're going to be prosecuted.
It was by the United
They gathered it. Why today, how many have been prosecuted? We saw what happened in the United Arab Emirates, where about 5 people were pinned down for acts of terrorism and supporting and financing. They were quickly, within a week, they were tried and sentenced. But here, there have been so many instances where we have seen people like this. The last, and the media doesn't help. We don't help the matter as well. Because I will tell you that at the end of this week, within the media, we've forgotten this. And we focus on others. We don't go back to fact check and see some of this, where are some this development on the how, when are they going to prosecute that? So yes, I am very happy that they've been arrested and the sweetness with which they are arrested. But the question we ask ourselves, what next? When is the DSS and the police and other relevant agencies going to finish? Because you just arrested 2. They are not the only 2 that planned it. There must have been so many other people that were able to take part. We have arrested so many people in the southeast for acts of terrorism. We have arrested people in the north for terrorism. We have arrested in the southwest for terrorism. But the fact remains that these people are not being brought to book. Just yesterday, 2 days ago, in the United States, a woman was executed for murder. We have so many people that have been sentenced to death in our prisons, and we are not doing anything about it. So those are the kind of things that gives us people like me some kind of voice. Not just arresting. Let us make sure that these people are duly prosecuted.
Before this particular issue, I think they have like sleeper cells in Kogi State. Cells that are active, especially these ISWAP guys.
Yeah, like I said earlier, he's the main guy there, and I won't be surprised if he had links to the massacre where people were killed in the church. where Akeredolu worships in Owo. So, but with his arrests, I want to believe that the police, the security operatives, is unravel more those guys, and also further break down his command structure. They should be able to. I'm happy that he didn't die from the gunshot wound, so that they can be able to extract more information from him and his other cohorts. And you can see that in the past few months, there has been a reduction in the number of activities of the terrorists, and I think and kidnapping. And I think the redenomination of the naira to reduce all these activities.
I want to thank you, Chris Kende Wandu. Thank you for your contribution today.
Thank you very much.
And Mujid Jami, thank you for your contribution. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11 p.m. and join us this Sunday on our satellite platform from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. Introducing the new Pressure King Pro from ShopX TV. The amazing 14-in-1 digital pressure cooker that saves you time and money.